Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We'll be doing some reading today from the Vedic paradigm and the teachings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and his disciples, edited by His Holiness Dhananjay Goswami. This is essentially a textbook course that's written in that format, edited in such a way that you can systematically study the most important topics of bhakti yoga, in a very scholastic kind of way. So you can start at chapter one, the Guru. Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurhon Vitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, And my guru, my spiritual master, opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. The word ajnana means ignorance or darkness. If all the lights in this room immediately went out, we would not be able to tell where we or others are sitting. Everything would become confused. Similarly, we are all in darkness in this material world, which is a world of tamas. Tamas or tamera means, quote, darkness, end quote. This material world is dark, and therefore it needs sunlight or moonlight for illumination. However, there is another world, a spiritual world, that is beyond this darkness. That world is described by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 15:6. Utad pasayate suryo, vishashanko napavakaha, yakadvat yadgatva nanivartante tadtama paramham mama. That abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon or by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world. Hmm. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, continuing. Sorry about that. The Guru's business is to bring his disciples from darkness to light. At present, everyone is suffering due to ignorance, just as one contracts a disease out of ignorance. If one does not know hygienic principles, he will not know what will contaminate him. Therefore, due to ignorance, there is infection, and we suffer from disease. A criminal may say, I do not know the law, but he will not be excused if he commits a crime. Ignorance is no excuse. Similarly, a child not knowing that fire will burn will touch the fire. The fire does not think, this is a child, and he does not know I will burn. No, there is no excuse. Just as there are state laws, there are also stringent laws of nature, and these laws will act despite our ignorance of them. If we do something wrong out of ignorance, we must suffer. This is the law. Whether the law is a state law or a law of nature, we risk suffering if we break it. The Guru's business is to see that no human being suffers in this material world. No one can claim that he is not suffering. That is not possible. In this material world, there are three kinds of suffering: adhyamaka, adibhotika, and adidaivika. These are the miseries arising from the material body and mind, from other living entities, and from the forces of nature. We may suffer mental anguish, or we may suffer from other living entities, from ants or mosquitoes or flies, or we may suffer due to some superior power. There may be no rain, or there may be flood. There may be excessive heat or excessive cold. So many types of suffering are imposed by nature. Thus, there are three types of miseries within the material world, and everyone is suffering from one, two, or three of them. No one can say that he is completely free from suffering. We may then ask why the living entity is suffering. The answer is out of ignorance. He does not think, I am committing mistakes and am leading a sinful life. That is why I am suffering. Therefore, the Guru's first business is to rescue his disciple from this ignorance. We send our children to school to save them from our suffering. If our children do not receive an education, we fear that they will suffer in the future. The Guru sees that suffering is due to ignorance, which is compared to darkness. How can one in darkness be saved? By light. The Guru takes the torchlight of knowledge and presents it before the living entity enveloped in darkness. That knowledge relieves him from the sufferings of the darkness of ignorance. One may ask whether the Guru is absolutely necessary. The Vedas inform us that he is. Tad vikyan hartam sagurum evabhigach chet samat panhi shrotriyam brahmanishtam. So here it's being described that what is the Guru's business? It's to bring his disciple to light. The Guru is aware that due to ignorance, so many souls are suffering. And because those souls are in ignorance, they might not even have full realization of the degree in which they're suffering. But nonetheless, that doesn't mean that the laws of nature no longer impose their suffering on that individual. Just because he doesn't know the law of nature, the threefold miseries of existence in the material world, just because one isn't aware of those, doesn't mean that law of nature won't act upon him. And there's that nice example, just like a child who doesn't know that the fire will burn him. Upon touching that flame, it's not that the fire ceases to uphold its own very nature of being hot. No, it burns despite the child's awareness of its danger. So similarly, these stringent laws of nature, they act despite our ignorance to them. And therefore, if we do something wrong out of ignorance, we suffer because of it. And there are three ways in which we suffer: adhyatmaka, adibhotika, and adidaivika. These are the miseries of material nature, the threefold miseries of material nature, that everyone is suffering, at least one, two, or three. And they're comprised in the sufferings that we find within our own body, within our own mind, the anxieties that come from living in the future, worrying about what might happen then, or the lamentation we might feel from wishing we may have done things different, done things better in our past. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that we should forget the past that sleeps, and never the future dream at all, but act in times that are with thee, and progress we shall call. From a nice poem called The Jiva Soul, where he writes that of this Adhyatmika, I have a couple more. Yeah. Okay. Of this material misery brought on by the body and mind, um, this is within our own um, social body complex. And as long as we're invested in the forces of nature, there's so much anxiety, especially for one who is progressive in material values, or he's accomplished a lot materially speaking. He has some sort of great wealth, or he's made some sort of progress on the path to material enjoyment. He's always in anxiety about losing that progress. And there are so many threats in that man's way, whether it's his own family, or sometimes compared to rogues and thieves, simply looking to take advantage of his wealth, of his charitable disposition, or nature itself, which can be unpredictable and polarizing. Something can come, a flood can wash away his property, his livestock could certainly become ill, which he's invested so much of his time and money into maintaining. There's even anxiety brought on by his own self of maybe I've misplaced my money in the wrong stock. Maybe I could have spent my money more wisely in this way or in that way. He's always in anxiety, and he can't free himself from that if he's looking to make progress in such ephemeral position. Like Queen Kunti, a wonderful personality, she has these wonderful prayers in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And she says that one on the path of material progress, trying to better themselves with high parentage, great opulence, high education, or bodily beauty, these people cannot understand the supreme absolute truth, which culminates in the personality of Godhead, which we all have an established eternal relationship with. But those people who are so materially motivated, they're covered over to the degree in which they want to enjoy materially. They cannot understand that spiritual knowledge which lies deep within their heart. So also in Gita we hear Bogaish Varjya Prasaktanam Tayaparhita Chetasam Vyavasatyatmika Buddhi Samadhana Vidiyate, that in the minds of those who are too attached to material advancement and sense gratification, the resolute determination of devotional service never takes place within their hearts, within their minds, meaning that they could forever swim in this ocean of birth and death. And if they're looking to be the enjoyer, or enjoy the fruits of the activities of their pursuits, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the form of his material nature, he'll forever be orchestrating their movements like puppets on a string. They'll just simply be directed at his will, always at the will of the Lord. But it's either we're either serving him directly, or we're either serving him indirectly. To serve him indirectly is a great tragedy. This material world without God is what it means to be in sin. And that's the characteristic of what's brought us to this material world and what keeps us in this material world. Are actions made without the consciousness of God, that aren't for the pleasure of God, that are done under the illusion that actually I'm the enjoyer. I'm the supreme proprietor. I'm the supreme lord. I'm the greatest friend to all living entities. Actually, it's God who holds the proprietary position of all of those things mentioned. So everyone is suffering from these three material miseries, and no one can say that he's completely free from suffering. Continuing on, next paragraph. We may then ask why the living entity is suffering. The answer is out of ignorance. He does not think I'm committing mistakes and leading a sinful life. That is why I'm suffering. Therefore, the Guru's first business is to rescue his disciple from this ignorance. We send our children to school to save them from suffering. If our children do not receive an education, we fear that they will suffer in the future. The Guru sees that suffering is due to ignorance, which is compared to darkness. How can one in darkness be saved? By light. The Guru takes the torchlight of knowledge and presents it before the living entity enveloped in darkness. That knowledge relieves him from the suffering of the darkness of ignorance. And that knowledge has to be heard submissively. Tatvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyati te jnanam jnaninas tatvidarshanaha. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 34, just try to approach the spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. And in that way, such a great soul who was liberated in knowledge of the absolute truth, he can then bestow that knowledge unto you. Only can we understand from someone who knows. So we're hearing here, we can infer that based on the information we're hearing, based on the duties and the effect that a guru has on a living entity, that we ourselves can't reach this stage of absolute truth. We need to be shown. There are two kinds of processes of knowledge by which we obtain knowledge, and one is called the ascending process, and the other is the descending process. The ascending process is through our own mental speculation, through our own material estimation and endeavor, we try to obtain this philosophical knowledge of who I am and why I'm here. We try to make a plea of our life to understand the greatest plagues that are affecting us, which are birth, death, disease, and old age. But we try to make this attempt to solve those four problems in such a way that we don't take help from the proper source. The proper source is through the parampara, or the disciplic succession. This is a chain of spiritual masters going all the way up the line to Lord Krishna himself. And this is how the knowledge is preserved in this very scientific process of disciplic succession. One disciple imparts it to his student. That knowledge becomes imparted to the next student, and all the way down the line. This is how the essence of Vedic knowledge is maintained, through hearing, through the ancient vibrations of sound. And this is spiritual sound, actually. And this is the most subtle, most effective way to learn. And we see this in a mundane sense. We send our children to school to save them from suffering. And what do the children do? They sit down in the class and they hear. Oftentimes they're hearing from the teacher, because this is proven to be the most effective way to learn. It's through our ears. If one is deep sleep, the most effective way to wake him up out of that sleep is through sound. Therefore, we have alarm clocks. This is what helps us rise in the morning. So this is the same for spiritual knowledge too. We must hear from a source who's qualified, and this is the guru. Actually, there is no such thing as an unqualified guru, because guru itself, gur means one who dispels, and then ru is darkness, I think. So one who dispels darkness, which is exactly what we're hearing. He brings the torchlight of knowledge into the hearts of the living entity who have thus far been enveloped in darkness. But it's that knowledge that relieves him from the sufferings of ignorance. Because wherever there is darkness, you just put a little bit of light, into that, then it's no longer dark. Where there is light, there cannot be darkness. So we need a guru. There's no arguing that. The Vedas enjoin us to seek out a guru. Actually, they say to seek out the guru, not just a guru. The guru is one because he comes in disciplic succession. What Vyasadeva and Krishna taught 5,000 years ago is also being taught now. There is no difference between the two instructions. Although hundreds and thousands of acharyas have come and gone, the message is one. The real guru cannot be two, for the real guru does not speak differently from his predecessors. Some spiritual teachers say, in my opinion, you should do this, but this is not a guru. Such so-called gurus are simply rascals. The genuine guru has only one opinion, and that is the opinion expressed by Krishna, Vyasadeva, Narada, Arjuna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Goswamis. 5,000 years ago, Lord Sri Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, and Vyasadeva recorded it. Srila Vyasadeva did not say, this is my opinion. Rather, he wrote, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, that is, quote, the Supreme Personality of Godhead says, end quote. Whatever Vyasadeva wrote was originally spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Vyasadeva. Did not give his own opinion. Consequently, Srila Vyasadeva is a guru. He does not misinterpret the words of Krishna, but transmits them exactly as they were spoken. We send a telegram. The person who delivers the telegram does not have to correct it, edit it, or add to it. He simply presents it. That is the guru's business. The guru may be this person or that, but the message is the same. Therefore, it is said that the guru is one. In the disciplic succession, we find repetition of the same subject. In Bhagavad Gita 9:34, Sri Krishna says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyajimham namaskuru mam evaishyasi yuktvaivam atmadham matparayanaha. Hare Krishna. Engage your mind in always thinking of me. Offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. These very instructions were reiterated by all the acharyas, such as Ramanuja Acharya, Madhvacharya, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The 6 Goswamis also transmitted the same message, and we are simply following in their footsteps. There is no difference. We do not interpret the words of Krishna by saying, in my opinion, the battle of Kurukshetra represents the human body, end quote. Such interpretations are set forth by rascals. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Oh yes, yes. I'll be right back. Program on it. What you think? Haribol. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So this is the qualification of the guru, is that he accepts. There are 4 things mentioned in this verse in Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhavamad bhakto. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, Krishna says. Offer obeisances. Worship me. Be completely absorbed in me. And to do so without knowing Krishna is incredibly difficult. He's within our hearts, but we have no realization of that fact. The spiritual master is an external manifestation of Krishna. And he very mercifully presents himself in such a way that we can access him. We can inquire, we can render service, we can hear. When we speak to God, we don't hear him. And the spiritual master speaks to the Lord. It's different. He's a confidential servitor of the Lord himself, and therefore he has already become qualified in the remembrance of his eternal relationship with God. So therefore, serving him is our direct link to serving God. Serving him is the same as serving God. So when we engage our mind in thinking of the spiritual master, when we offer our obeisances to the spiritual master, when we worship the spiritual master is collecting this worship, and he's presenting it up this line of disciplic succession that ultimately ends at the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So this is the science of disciplic succession, and this is how one stays honest and stays safe in their progressive spiritual life, is that they never go astray because they're simply working off of the instructions received to them through the Shastra and through the Guru. Shastra means scripture, and Guru is the external manifestation of Lord Sri Krishna. So he's never changing or making any interpretations. Therefore, you see so many editions of Bhagavad Gita that have been translated to English. Shri Shri Gonatai Ki Jai. But almost all of them are unauthorized in the sense that they very whimsically accept and reject the real essence of Bhagavad Gita, and they give forth their own interpretations that are motivated by the author translator's desire for fame, wealth, women, prestige. These things blind us, keep us from the real message, the real purport that is being given. So it's absolutely imperative that we find someone who is giving us the information as it is. We'll hear more about how to do that. A rascal guru may say, quote, "I am God," end quote, or "We are all God." That is all right, but we should find out from the dictionary what the meaning of God is. Generally, a dictionary will tell us that the word God indicates the Supreme Being. Thus, we may ask such a guru, quote, "Are you the Supreme Being?" end quote. If you cannot understand this, then we should give the meaning of supreme. Any dictionary will inform us that supreme means the greatest authority. We may then ask, "Are you the greatest authority?" Such a rascal guru, even though proclaiming himself to be God, cannot answer such a question. God is the Supreme Being and the highest authority. No one is equal to him or greater than him. Yet there are many guru gods, many rascals who claim to be the Supreme. Such rascals cannot help us escape the darkness of material existence. They cannot illumine our darkness with the torchlight of spiritual knowledge. The bona fide guru will simply present what the Supreme Guru, God, says in bona fide scripture. Just like the postman, it was said. Just like the postman who's delivering the letter on behalf of the sender, he does not change anything that's contained within that letter. It's the exact, it contains the same essence, the same contents that were first given to him to make the exchange. So this is the qualification. If we understand the Shastra, then we can understand if one is abiding by the teachings of the Shastra. The bona fide guru will simply present what the Supreme Guru, God, says in bona fide scripture. A guru cannot change the message of disciplic succession. He's held accountable because we can look at our guru's predecessor, see what he said, or our guru's predecessor. Everyone has, within the disciplic succession of Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is this sampradaya, this disciplic succession that we're a part of in ISKCON. All of our acharyas, all of our spiritual teachers have their own commentaries in the scriptures. So one can see through scrutinizing the work of themselves, these, these souls that have come before us, that the purport, the message of all the scriptures, it might be realized in different words, but the meaning, the essence, the knowledge that's there at the center of it all is the exact same. It's the exact same. So we can see if our spiritual master, someone that we're approaching in that light, is qualified based on what he's saying, whether it lines up in the Shastra or not. We must understand that we cannot carry out research to find the absolute truth. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, quote, "My Guru Maharaj, my spiritual master, considered me a great fool," end quote. He remains a great fool before his guru is a guru himself. He who remains a great fool before his guru is a guru himself. If one says, quote, "I am so advanced that I can speak better than my guru," end quote, he is simply a rascal. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, "Evam parampara praptam imham rajarshayo verevu sakalenaha mahata yogo nashta parantapa." The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic successions, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. The science as it is appears to be lost. Taking on a guru is not simply a fashion. One who is serious about understanding spiritual life requires a guru. A guru is a question of necessity, for one must be very serious to understand spiritual life, God, proper action, and one's relationship with God. When we are very serious about understanding these subjects, we need a guru. We shouldn't go to a guru simply because a guru may be fashionable at the moment. Surrender must be there, for without surrender, we cannot learn anything. If we go to a guru simply to challenge him, we will learn nothing. We must accept the guru just as Arjuna accepted his guru, Sri Krishna himself. This is a following quote from Bhagavad Gita, which is the turning point of Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna, he makes the plea to Krishna to abandon this friendship that they've established for their whole life and let Arjuna enter into a place of submissive service, submissive inquiry, and humble service in trying to understand the supreme truth. This is a turning point in Bhagavad Gita where Arjuna actually accepts Sri Krishna as his guru. When we're on the platform of friends, it's very difficult for there to be conclusive knowledge. So I have my opinion, and they have their opinion, and we're equal. We see each other as equals. It's a special relationship that's there, but it's not one that you can exchange the absolute truth to such a degree as with the spiritual master. Spiritual master, you just humbly sit at his feet, inquire from him the purpose of life. Why are we here? Why are we suffering? What's the meaning of all of this? And he tells you exactly as it is, and you just simply accept because he's qualified. You've established his qualification already, and therefore you don't have to be in anxiety whether or not, should I believe this? Should I not believe that? There's no need to hesitate in understanding his order and his instruction. You just simply have to carry out your duty as a servant. So Arjuna says, "Karpanya dosha pahatasvabhavaha prichchami tvam dharma samuda cheta yat shreyasya nishchitam bruhitane shishyasteham shari mam tvam prapanam." Now I'm confused about my duty, and I've lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple, and the soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Arjuna is very nicely showing us the mood in which we must approach a spiritual master. In a mood of helplessness, not hopelessness, but helplessness. That's by myself, there's no more advancement I can make. I can't take a single step forward in my spiritual life without the help of you. This is This is the mood that we should invoke. So the Guru is Krishna's representative, the former Acharya's representative. Krishna says that all Acharyas are his representatives. Therefore, the Guru should be offered the same respect one would offer to God. As Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in his prayers to the spiritual master, Yasya Prasadad, Bhagavat Prasada, quote, by the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. As if we surrender to the bona fide Guru, we surrender to God. God accepts our surrender to Guru. In other words, if we make our Guru happy, we make the servant of God happy, then we make God himself happy. In the same way that if your friend or if someone who you're trying to make happy or please has some sort of pet animal, you should treat that pet animal with love and affection, and in that way you also win the heart of its owner. Similarly, if we treat someone who's very dear to the Lord as if we're taking them for granted or trying to jump over their intelligence, jump over their instruction, we're not submissively appreciating all of their good transcendental qualities, then what makes us think that we would ever become close to God? He says, one who serves me is no servant of mine. One who serves my servant's servant is very dear to me. So thus we must learn how to become das anudas anudas, servant of the servant of the servant of God. And this way we'll find reconnection with Krishna himself. In the Bhagavad Gita, 1866, Krishna also instructs Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma shuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Someone may argue, where is Krishna? I shall surrender to him. But no process. But no, the process is that we first surrender to Krishna's representative. Then we surrender to Krishna. Therefore, it is said, Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastre. The Guru is as good as God. When we offer respects to the Guru, we are offering respects to God. Because we are trying to be God conscious, it is required that we learn how to offer respects to God through God's representative. In all the Shastras, the Guru is described to be as good as God. Excuse me. But the Guru, where are we at? But the Guru never says, I am God. Yes. The Guru himself, as we heard before, what did it say? It said, the Guru never thinks himself so advanced that he can speak better than his Guru. But to speak of Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has this humility. This is all saintly souls demonstrate so nicely this humility. The disciple's duty is to offer respect to the Guru, just as he offers respect to God. But the Guru never thinks, my disciples are offering me the same respect they offer to God. Therefore, I have become God. As soon as one thinks like this, he becomes a dog instead of God. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Kintu Prabhurya Priya Eva Tasya. Because he is the most confidential servitor of God, the Guru is offered the same respect that we offer God. God is always God. Guru is always Guru. As a matter of etiquette, God is the worshipable God, and the Guru is the worshipper God. Sevaka Bhagavan. Therefore, the Guru is addressed as Prabhupada. The word Prabhu means Lord, and Pad means position. Thus, Prabhupada means, quote, he who has taken the position of the Lord. This is the same as Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastriya. Only if we are very serious about understanding the science of God is a guru required. We should not try to keep a guru as a matter of fashion. One who has accepted the guru speaks intelligently. He never speaks nonsense. That is a sign of having accepted a bona fide guru. We should certainly offer all respects to the spiritual master, but we should also remember how to carry out his orders. In the Bhagavad Gita 434, Sri Krishna himself tells us the method of seeking out and approaching the Guru. This is a verse I quoted a few minutes ago. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevayat upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina statvadarshanaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Tattvadarshi. Tattva means truth. Darshinaha means to see. He's seen the truth. He has seen the truth, and therefore he can share the truth. Because he knows what the truth is, he can vocalize it. And we can take those vibrations in through our ears and internalize it ourselves. There's a point that's made here that we should not whimsically accept a guru, or as a matter of fashion, accept a guru. And we saw this a lot in the 60s and 70s. This became very popular in the West to find a guru. This was done very cheaply. And we hear from great spiritual masters in this line of disciplic succession. In the material world, for one who's not anxious and eager to get out, there are simply two classifications of people. There are the cheated and the cheaters. And this was especially exemplified in all of those people who accepted guru as a matter of fashion, who weren't very serious about understanding the science of God, but still found it necessary for themselves. Or they were driven by the mass mind of society to think that it was worth something of their time to accomplish accepting the guru. It's a waste of time. And these gurus, they whimsically accept and reject the Shastra, the Vedic wisdom. And they don't give strong principles to follow. In fact, they say, just do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want, but worship me as if I'm God. Whereas the bona fide guru, he's not afraid to stick with the Shastra as it's given. So we'll wrap up there. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.